this is really the 6 areas we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk about your considerations when it comes to, a new versus an established customer, customer products, customer-specific products, product catalogs, customer-specific pricing, your back office integration to your accounting or ERP application, account self-service, the availability of having access to alternative shipping methods, and being able to use your e-commerce storefront for sales representatives and some different options that are available with the technologies today. So let's first take a look at what not to do. I found this B2B website out there, and I think we can all agree that if we're looking for missile defense systems, we probably would not buy from these people. Here's another example. This one looks like it's a little more business to consumer, but we've all seen these sites. They're crazy busy. They're not organized. They don't look professional. You'd kind of be afraid to put your credit card in on a website like this, just because they don't look like a real business. And a couple more examples. This one's, I believe, out of Australia. And, color schemes are kind of wrong. It's very clunky. Here's another one. I typed in, just to find some examples, typed in, industrial supplies. And this is a little better. They've got some different product catalogs out there. They've got some new products. But it doesn't look like they invested a whole lot in their e-commerce site. This one's real nice. If you like yellow and blue, click here to see our current sales. They really haven't put their e-commerce first and foremost on their website. So let's talk a little bit about business to consumer. And with business to consumer sales, right, like a site like Amazon or a lot of the different consumer sites out there, they place a really high importance on finding consumers that are looking for the products that they sell. And so SEO marketing is incredibly important for consumer-based websites. Now, I'm not saying that isn't the case with business to business. That certainly is the case. You do want to find, companies, if you happen to be an industrial supplier, you want to be able to SEO optimize your B2B website. But the focus is going to be more on your existing customers in most cases than finding new customers via the web. One of the other big differences is with business to consumer sites, you're typically taking a credit card for the order. And if we contrast that with a business to business site, in a lot of cases you can take a credit card, but in most cases you're probably selling on account, right? So you have an account set up in your accounting system, your ERP application. They have established credit with you. They just want to be able to place orders, maybe even recurring orders for products from your company, and then have that flow back into your accounting system so that you can invoice them. And then they pay on net 15, net 30 terms or whatever they have established. With business to consumer e-commerce, you can set up different product catalogs based on search terms, but it's really hard to profile the customer and gear them toward the products that would be of most interest to them. But in a business-to-business world, it is a lot easier. If you're selling to industrial accounts, commercial accounts, agricultural accounts, government accounts, you know what those customers are. You know what types of products they buy. So you can actually customize your product catalog so that when they log in, they see the products that are most relevant to them and the products that they most frequently order. Sales reps. This is a big one. If you are operating a business-to-consumer site, you really want the customer to drive the sales process. You want to make it very easy for them to get in, to search, to find new items, and to buy them. In a business-to-business environment, you may have an element of that where customers are serving themselves, business-to-business customers. But in a lot of cases, you may be working with a sales rep that's assigned to that account or assigned to, obviously, to multiple accounts, and you want to be able to provide a portal for them so that they can log in, they can create a shopping cart for their customers, maybe send off an email to them and say, hey, I've put these items into your shopping cart. Why don't you take a look at them and see if you want to place that order? And sales reps, can do a lot more things. We're going to cover a little bit more about this later, some of the newer technologies. Business to consumer. There are literally hundreds of B2C e-commerce sites out there. And the way that they process orders is not conducive to a B2B market. So typically the orders will go into a B2C system, and some of those will email the orders to the company, right? So then they have to rekey that information. Other systems allow you to download a file and then upload them into your accounting system to process those orders. But in most cases, the integration between your storefront and your accounting application that you're using for order management, shipping, fulfillment, is extremely limited. And this is the big reason, probably the paramount reason why we developed Anytime Commerce. We're ERP people. We understand the back-end integration, and we understand that your e-commerce site should not be a standalone application. It certainly could be, but you get a lot more efficiency when you integrate it and you make it more of an extension of your business application as opposed to an island of information. And as I'd mentioned, there are literally hundreds of B2C solutions out in the market. If you type in B2B e-commerce into Google, or B2B storefront or shopping cart or something like that, you're going to find that your choices are very, very limited. And the price tag on those solutions typically goes up considerably. So with our Anytime Commerce product, what we've done is we've tried to balance the best of both worlds, right? We're giving you a really solid, sharp, fresh, easy to use, completely integrated storefront at a price that makes sense for a small and mid-sized business. We've got customers that are really, really small, a couple $1 million in revenue a year, and we've got customers that are significantly larger than that. Another comparison before we go into some of these fundamental differences. In a B2C environment, your goals for your e-commerce site are typically product-driven. You really want to put the product first and foremost in front of the customer. But in a B2B environment, you really also want to focus on the relationship you have with the customer. From a market standpoint, B2C is very broad and general. You want to reach a very large audience. In a B2B environment, if I'm selling industrial supplies, I have a very limited niche market. If I'm selling CNC machines, I've got a very limited niche market. So my market's smaller and it's very targeted. From a buying process standpoint, if I'm selling T-shirts, if I'm selling pens, novelties, household goods in a B2C environment, people are going to find me on the internet. They're going to go to my website. They may shop around to some different sites, but typically the sales process is going to be very short, right? Because most consumer products aren't that expensive. But contrast that with a B2B market. We've got customers that are selling some products that are lower end, right? We've got a customer that sells motorcycle equipment, and maybe $100 on average for some of their orders. Maybe $200 or $300. We've got some customers that are selling, very, very large pieces of medical equipment and all the supplies that go with them, and these could be tens of thousands of dollars for these pieces of equipment. So somebody's not just going to hit a website and buy directly from that customer when they're looking to make a $10,000 or $20,000 investment. Pricing in a B2C environment, you have standard pricing. You may have Loyalty programs where they get a little bit of a discount. You may have coupons. You may have promotions. And you certainly could have some of that in a B2B environment as well. But one of the big differences is in most B2B environments, you have customer-specific price sheets. You have customer contracts that dictate when they get to certain volume levels or certain dollar amounts that they get discounts. And these are specific to a customer, to a group of customers. And it's imperative that if you make changes in your accounting system regarding those customer price breaks, that you can easily integrate that with your e-commerce storefront, because you don't want to have to maintain it in two places. From a shipping standpoint, in a B2C environment, I'm typically shipping via common carrier, UPS, FedEx, USPS. But you get into a B2B environment, and you have a lot of different methods that you can ship product. Again, if I'm selling CNC lathes and machines, I'm probably not going to ship them via UPS. We're definitely not going to ship them via the United States Postal Service. I may put them on a flatbed, I may put them on a train, I may put them on a cargo plane, depending on where they're being shipped to. From a user standpoint, in a B2C environment, we're obviously targeting consumers. And in a B2B environment, we're typically targeting just business-to-business transactions. And if we look at the frequency with a B2C customer, we may get some repeat business, right, with loyalty programs and such. I'm pretty fond of Amazon. I do all my Christmas shopping there. But in a lot of cases, when you find something online, you're going to go to that e-commerce site, you're going to buy it, and you may or may not ever go back to that site. But if I'm a business and I'm selling to another business, and I'm selling CNC machines, I'm selling medical equipment, those customers are going to keep coming back to me. So I'm going to get repeat orders. So the relationship is very different. From an order total, we talked about this a little bit earlier. On a B2C side, typically lower end items. It's not uncommon to buy a product on an e-commerce site for a couple dollars up to maybe a couple hundred. And you get into a B2B environment, you could be selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment online. From a fulfillment standpoint in a B2C environment, a lot of these companies are simply marketing companies, and they do a lot of drop ships. So they market the product, they take the orders, they place the orders with a third-party vendor or supplier, and they do all the fulfillment for them. Again, one of the important things that we have in a B2B environment, and one of the integration points we have with Anytime Commerce, is the ability to take those orders, push them back into the accounting system, process those orders from your warehouse so that you have full visibility of the fulfillment of that order. Okay? And we talked about this earlier, order processing. In the B2C environment, you typically download your orders at the end of the day, import them in. If there is an importer, you have to manually key them in. In a B2B environment, the orders can be automatically integrated, so the minute that they click this, the checkout button, those orders can be pushed directly into your accounting system and picked, packed, and shipped to the customer. So let's talk about the 6 points that I had for the presentation today. New versus established customers. In a B2C environment, you are going to have a high percent of new customers, and a lot of those customers aren't going to have to exist in your accounting system, right? They might be a one-time customer. And there are some e-commerce solutions out there that simply set up kind of a dummy account. They call it, a web customer or a visitor customer or a guest customer, and then kind of work around things a little bit. But they're really not geared toward B2B. Again, you've got your loyalty marketing and promotions, you got a lot of catalog marketing, your guest access, and they're most likely to find you in a web search. In B2B, you have a very low percentage of new customers. These are typically going to be customers that you're doing business with, quite frequently. And what I love about a B2B environment is that you're basically enabling the customer to serve themselves, so you're reducing some of your cost of sales by going with an e-commerce site. You can also do some of the things in a B2B environment that a consumer site might do, right? You might want to do some cross-sell or some upsell. We've got customers that are selling equipment and they're offering, replacement parts, service contracts, or supplies that go with that equipment as a potential cross-sell or upsell. Again, you've got your customer-specific pricing. So if I log in as a customer, I see my pricing. I can see my most frequently ordered products in my catalog. Guest access, obviously less common, but we do have some customers that are doing that. Where they'll allow a customer to come in and actually make an order, even though they don't exist in the back office ERP application. But certainly that's probably the exception and not the rule. Established account access, and they already know who you are. They're not trying to find you on Google. They're going to your site directly. Products and pricing, and this is probably one of the biggest differences. We talked about earlier, I can target my customers. If I know that they're an industrial account versus an agricultural account, I can customize when they log in that they only see the products that are related to them, that they would be most apt to purchase. And I can do that by a customer class or by any of the information that I have in my accounting system. I also have the back office pricing integration, and we support any pricing that you would be able to conceivably come up with. If I've got customer contract pricing, volume price breaks, product group price breaks, or even some very complex matrix pricing, we can integrate that and make that available so when your customer logs in, no matter how they're ordering, they're going to get their pricing that you've already established in your accounting system. And one of the key points I want to make here is your e-commerce site should not be difficult to use. It really should be an extension of your ERP sales order module. It should be no different than going into your accounting system and placing an order. The only difference is maybe you have more information around that product available for your customer. Maybe you have a video. Maybe you've got the user guides or the documentation. Maybe you've got multiple images of those items out there. So you're providing a little more information, but you're also enabling them to self-serve themselves when it comes to order entry. And when I'm talking about the back office ERP integration, I'm not just talking about the customer pricing. We have a lot of information in our accounting system, right? We've got customer ship to information, the bill to information. Maybe I want to go in and order, but I want to ship it to a subsidiary of my company. All those are pre-established in my accounting system. So I log in as a customer. I can choose which facility I want this product shipped to. Automated order creation in the ERP system. Real-time inventory status inquiries. And you can get this in some of the e-commerce environments for B2C, but it does take a little more work, right? Because the B2C e-commerce site does not know what stock I have in my warehouse. That's one of the big things that we're able to provide in the B2C environment with the tight integration we have to the back office. If you want to see what inventory is available and even what the closest warehouse is, that's information that we can enable and provide to your customers so they don't have to pick up the phone and say, hey, how many do you have of these in stock? I want to make sure that I get them and they're not in back order. And stored shipping information, and what are my preferred methods of shipping. The big key here, totally eliminate duplicate data entry. Let's automate everything. Account self-service, not only can they go in and place orders, but they can also go into a B2B site and review statements, take a look at invoices, review sales orders that are in process. They can review shipments. They can, in some cases, maintain their accounts. So if they happen to get a new phone number, new fax number, a new contact, they can go and update that information online. And then the other big one is just being able to communicate back and forth between the two companies. Shipping methods, and this is one that a lot of people in the B2B market don't really think about. But again, in B2C, I'm typically shipping with 1 to 3 trucks here, right? I've got the Postal Service, and I've got UPS, and I've got FedEx. Those are the big 3. But if I'm going into a B2B environment, I could ship UPS, I could ship USPS or FedEx, but I may also have very heavy equipment or products that I'm shipping. And if I'm marketing and selling internationally, I've got a friend of mine that owns a company that makes boilers of all things, and some of their biggest customers are in Singapore. Well, they're not going to make these things and have FedEx deliver them. You know, they're going to put them on, you know, either a cargo ship, maybe a cargo plane. You know, they might have some combination here to be able to get the product, you know, to port via rail, and then, you know, either put them on the plane or put them on a ship for shipment. And we take that into account with custom shipping rates. So depending on the product and depending on where you're shipping it to, you get to set up what those shipping rates look like. Last point here, and then we'll do a little wrap up, is sales reps. So in a B2B environment, in most cases, you're going to have a sales rep that handles specific accounts. Now, if I'm a sales rep and I go out to visit my accounts every once in a while, wouldn't it be nice if I could take my e-commerce site with me? And we can do that. Our e-commerce site will run on most of your popular tablets. In fact, the next release is going to be platform neutral, so as long as you can get internet access and run it in a browser, you can take your product catalog with you. We have one customer, and I'll show you their website here shortly. Again, they sell motorcycle accessories. It's aftermarket. So they go to all these motorcycle dealerships, and they'll actually pull up on an iPad or some tablet, and they will go through their inventory catalog, and they can place orders for their customer while they're sitting there in front of their customer. They can see what quantities they have in stock, and they can see what their last orders were. They can review invoices. All that information is available to them on a tablet with internet access. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, the technology has changed so much. So you really can convert your e-commerce platform into a mobile sales platform. So I just want to show you a couple examples of some of the customers that we've worked with. This company, Marcor Purification, they're a division of a Fortune 500 company. They are publicly traded. So they're one of our larger customers, and they sell medical equipment and medical supplies. Okay. A couple things I want to point out, because I am not going to do a live demonstration of the software today. A lot of the e-commerce sites are very similar, but I want to focus on the look and feel and how we can customize this without really having to get into website coding. Marcor had a palette of colors that they used for their website. There was 0 modifications that needed to be done to source code. They were able to skin out, if you will, their e-commerce site to match their corporate website. They were able to integrate images that were very similar. And they made it very, very clean. So you get here, home takes you to the home page where they have some promotions. They've got some images for the different categories. You can look at the item catalog. You can search for items in the catalog. If you want to hide out-of-stock items, they have that option available to them. They can see what's in their shopping cart. And if you look at the very top there, you see a little kind of triangular box that says Show. I love this feature. If I click on that Show button, it'll actually drop down and show me what's in my shopping cart, what's my total, what are the quantities, and I can go right to my shopping cart from the top there. The inquiries, that's more for my self-service, right? So they can log in, they can see their invoices, their statements, their order history. And a couple other things here, if I look at items to display, we have different options here. And you can set these as default. So do I want to see my items on the screen in sort of this kind of grid format, or I'm sorry, not grid, but more of a thumbnail format, or I can actually flip over and see it in more of a list format in a grid, where I can actually do my order entry in the grid. And then, of course, you know, you get to define your catalog categories. And again, if I have certain customers that I know are going to buy one product versus another, I can set it up so that based on their login, they only see certain categories. Okay. This was another customer. They went with more of a very simple design, which I like. They happen to distribute products to funeral homes. Somebody's got to do it, and they're a great company. So this is just an example of the shopping cart. So again, it's an established customer in the accounting system. They log in. They can see their ship to, so who are they going to ship this to? Order subtotal, the sales tax, we do integrate with Avalara, which is the predominant online sales tax engine, and integrated to virtually all of the accounting applications on the market today. So we're able to calculate the sales tax using that engine from your e-commerce storefront. We can also calculate shipping. They get to pick their shipping method here, and you know, can enter purchase order information, etc. Okay. So this is the one customer I was telling you that sells the motorcycle aftermarket products, and again, very similar look and feel. This is the same template that we provide to all of our customers, the last two sites that you saw, but you can see that they did a lot more with it. They tended to go with more of a kind of a real catchy image on the home page, and they've even integrated, they do sell via catalog as well, so you can actually go to their catalog page, which is another website page that basically houses all of their PDF copies of catalogs. So if their dealers want to go on and order out of a catalog instead of the storefront, they can do that. Okay. And last example here, this again is a very simple design, very clean, same template, same functionality, corrugated replacements. They make replacement parts for corrugated, I think, boxing or corrugated packaging equipment, very, very specific niche industry. Okay, and this is just showing some of the inquiries. So they got their invoices, they chose to display their sales orders, and you can also see purchase history. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up here. Some of the things that I always get asked, right, is how do I manage my website? We have an integrated content management system with the e-commerce site. So a marketing person, much like myself, does not need to know how to do HTML programming. I can go into the maintenance side of the application. I can upload new catalogs. I can change categories. I can manage the integration to my accounting system. I can set up my freight rates if I need custom freight. And I can actually build out additional pages on my e-commerce site. Okay. We do also have an optional piece of software we call Website Builder. And what that allows you to do is to really manage your entire website, not just the e-commerce portion, but it's a very easy way to go in. You basically log into your website and then click on the various elements of the website, whether it's a newsfeed reader or you want to add a contact form, or maybe you want to edit some of the content on a particular page. You can do all of that online in a what you see is what you get kind of environment without having to go into the code. And that makes it really nice. You put that on top of your e-commerce site and you've got virtually everything you need to manage your online presence. From a pricing standpoint, we do have a basic edition. It is our standalone edition, does not have the back office integration, and does not have the website builder to maintain your non-e-commerce pages. Our standard edition is our most common. That includes the back office integration to your accounting or your ERP application, and it does not include website builder. Our enterprise edition is basically everything, right? So it gives you the integration to your back office ERP, accounting, also gives you the website builder. From a pricing standpoint, you have options here. You can purchase the product outright. Pricing starts at $12,000, and that will be a turnkey price. So don't be confused when competitors are out there saying they can do it for less. That $12,000 includes the setup of the site. It includes graphic design assistance, so that we actually help you with the images, as well as the integration to your accounting system. So that's designed to be a turnkey price. And if you want, you can also go with a subscription. And subscription pricing starts at $560 a month, which is more than affordable for most businesses. Just want to point out again, we do integrate with credit cards. So if you do have customers who want to pay online, we use Sage Payment Solutions for credit card processing. If you use a different payment processor, then contact us and we can talk about different options there. And again, we partner with Avalara for sales tax calculations. We do embed directly with UPS if you are doing UPS shipments, or again, you can do your custom freight. My contact information is up on the slide deck here. So if you want to jot that down, review this later on in the recorded presentation that Adrian's going to make available to you, you'll be able to contact me. And if you're working with a reseller, then we'll obviously work in tandem with your partner to dig in, answer any specific questions you might have, and do a personalized product demonstration. So with that, Adrian, that concludes the webinar. I guess we'll go ahead and see if we have any questions.